Hey Aces, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to make a follow-up video to an earlier one. I just basically said that we stand with Megan because she came out telling her truth and people were just calling her all types of liars, calling her out of her name. I mean, just the vitriol and hatred that she was experiencing was unacceptable. And now she's been vindicated because Tory Lanez has been found guilty on all three felony counts. So the first, assault with a semi-automatic handgun. The second, carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle. And third, discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Okay. So he faces up to 22 years in prison, and he might be deported because he's not an American citizen. He's a Canadian citizen. So he is in custody right now. And I knew something was off when he brought his son to the courthouse, which makes me really sad because children shouldn't be used as pawns, number one. And it's heartbreaking because that's going to be a traumatic experience and event in this little boy's life that Tory, again, was just using him as some kind of accessory when he knew the truth, right? There's always three sides to the truth. It's each person's side, Meg's side, Tory's side, and then what really happened. And the thing is, when people were saying that, oh, Meg, she's lying, she was lying to protect Tory. That's the key. That's the thing that people don't understand. Not to mention the trauma that she was experiencing, knowing that police can say, oh, well, I feel threatened by Megan's black skin and execute her for just existing while black. We see it every day, twice on the weekends. So for her to say, I didn't feel safe calling the police or thinking that the police was going to have my back or thinking that they were going to take my side, that's valid. I don't care, what, people have this utopian ideation of the police. And, I guess we've been indoctrinated ever since we were young, like, oh, the police are the good guys or the police will help you. But lawyers will tell you the exact opposite. I know people who have retired grandparents and grandfathers and uncles on the forces or who work police forces right now, and they say the last people that you want to call for assistance, for aid, are the police because they are just, if you can find if you can find someone else to help you, please do so, because they're trigger happy. Their fingers are always ready to just kill. They don't de-escalate. They always escalate the situation, especially when you have black skin in America. That hypervigilance can wear you down. It's called weathering, and it's so stressful. So on top of that, on top of her getting shot, not being believed, being, gaslit, I mean, having the bloggers come after her, which by the way, she says she's contemplating possibly suing those bloggers. So again, I made an earlier video saying that I stand with Megan. It's actually in my thumbnail. You guys can check it out if you want to. That would be great. But I knew. I mean, of course I wasn't there, but I felt it in my heart, because there's no way that you're going to get shot and then come out and say things. Black women are just completely disregarded, disrespected, disbelieved, dismissed. Our pain is not valued. And so as soon as Megan spoke up, I was like, yep, she's telling the truth. And she told him, she said, I wasn't even going to air everything out until you went to the blogs and lied. So all those bloggers and all those people that were throwing hate on Megan's name, there's consequences for everything that people say. You know what I mean? And I'm so grateful for the lawyers and the courts who did the due diligence and found and found him guilty because accountability needed to be had. There's no way that you can continuously, have all this violence toward Black women. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And then there's no accountability. We're not your mules. We're not your mammies. We're not your step stools. Enough is enough. So I'm so grateful that Megan spoke out. This is her quote from 2020. She says, "Even as a victim, I have been met with skepticism and judgment. The way people have publicly questioned and debated whether I played a role in my own violent assault proves that my fears about discussing what happened were unfortunately warranted." She's absolutely right. And Zora Neale Hurston said the exact same thing. She said, if you're silent about your pain, they will kill you and say that you enjoyed it. And that is so, 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 so true. And I'm really glad that now more women are speaking up. Tarana Burke created the Me Too movement, the Time's Up movement. We're getting the ball rolling that silence is complicity. When you're silent, you're complicit, and we cannot be complicit in our own pain and our own oppression any longer. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, okay, she had to speak up and she had to sue the Daily Mail, and they're still going after her, saying that, oh, well, she's doing it for the attention. That's basically saying, like, you're enjoying the abuse that I'm bestowing upon you. That's sick. That's twisted. Okay. But we live in a patriarchal society that views women as property, especially, with Republicans trying to control women's bodies. This is crazy. But slowly but surely, excuse me, you guys, I'm sorry, I have a cold, but slowly but surely, the ball is rolling in the right direction, okay? And things are changing for the positive. So, and I'm grateful. And justice was served. So, Daystar Peterson is Tory Lanez's real name. And like I said, he's going to be sentenced on January 27th. He is facing up to 22 years in prison with a possible deportation back to Canada. And his father and his loved ones were outside of the courthouse screaming, throwing all kind of fits, bringing the Lord's name into it. And, you can't enact violence. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You can't enact violence on people, especially women, and think that that's okay. And the way that his father was acting outside of that courthouse, I'm like, okay, apple tree, it doesn't it doesn't take a scientist to realize that Tory may have learned some unacceptable behavior from his father, okay? And while his father was doing all that yelling and screaming, he could have been spending those years, especially during his son's formative years, teaching him not to assault women, teaching him not to try to control women. You can't do that. You cannot do that. It is unacceptable, especially in the year of our Lord, 2022, going on into 2023, okay? So here's a statement from the district attorney. He says, I want to start by highlighting the bravery of Meg and Pete. You showed incredible courage and vulnerability with your testimony despite repeated and grotesque attacks that you did not deserve. You faced unjust and despicable scrutiny that no woman should ever face, and you have been an inspiration to others across LA County and the nation. Women, especially Black women, are afraid to report crimes like assault and sexual violence because they are too often not believed. This trial, for the second time this month, highlighted the numerous ways that our society must do better for women. I'd also like to thank the jurors for their time and thoughtful deliberation, and our trial team for their tireless pursuit of the truth. You spent countless hours away from your families during the holiday season preparing this case and finding justice for Ms. Pete. Your sacrifice is appreciated. District Attorney George Garcon, sorry, George, I mispronounced your name, December 23rd, 2022. So basically, and I'm really glad that he acknowledged that misogynoir specifically affects Black women. But I'm just really grateful that this Christmas, Meg is doing it big on the Forbes list, and Tory is getting held accountable for his actions. So, with that being said, you guys have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Hug and kiss a loved one, hug and kiss a Black woman today. And please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I love you guys, and I will talk with you later. Take care. Bye.